In the year of 2025, PS5 is ramping up to be a powerhouse system for gamers and collectors as well. So what better time to attack than when stakes are high and developers are thirsty to give us unique material to spark our interests? I'm coming at you live to begin a new chapter of rare, unique, and hidden gems for this system, and although I feel like Disney's Robin Hood with my cup held out saying, "Alms, alms for the poor," I humbly ask for your subscription, comments, or likes as I embark on this expedition of epic proportions. I've decided to tweak the numbers from 10 titles to 5 selections with each new video, not only to get that indentation out of your couch, but also to allow myself time to get a really good grasp on the games I'm reviewing for you and cut the release times in half from one video to the next. I hope you're as excited as I am to get this banquet started, so place your forks and knives in the upward position and prepare to dig into my first course. Bon appetit! On September 27th, 2024, in the year of our Lord, this 2D pixelated platformer was released, harkening back to an arcade classic called Roston in 1987 and gleaming similarities to the Conan universe. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger, not Conan O'Brien to all you Generation Alphas out there. Indie dev PAL Pixel Games took on development while Jandusoft and Tasura Games embraced their roles in publishing. If you appreciated the 16-bit era, this game delivers a striking throwback with the fluidity of PlayStation 5's processing speeds. Now, let's take a moment to satiate our curiosity and unfold our first title on this bustling system. It's truly satisfying to traverse 50 stages of demon-abolishing, side-scrolling nostalgia set in the vein of Greek mythology. Atlantis and Plato heavily themed gameplay will whisk you away to its block-like worlds minus the cartridge-like hardware. Kraintor is your main character, but you have 4 options to choose from, and also the option of 4-player co-op with their own strengths and abilities. It comes complete with Adventure, Heroic, or Bravery mode upon completion of Heroic. I found an eerie solace playing with the main character Kraintor because his very stance and swinging mechanics are so close to the 80s game Roston that I also held dear in my infancy of gaming. Difficulty is a nice gradual progression, so I think most seasoned gamers or newcomers have a lot to enjoy here. It's not a groundbreaking title, but I enjoyed it enough to bring it to your attention, and I'm confident you'll find zeal if you take a swing at it. 7 out of 10. Mama, just killed a man. Put a gun against his head. Stole his music, now he's dead. Don't worry, I'll explain later, but in the meantime, you'll find yourself gliding gracefully through an on-rail, third-person flight simulator in this title published by NN and developed by YSNet that was released November 10th of 2023. If I said this game draws on the similarities of games like Space Harrier, you could do well to know the same developer Yu Suzuki was responsible for this one. That's what the YS stood for. With weapon power-ups, gorgeous visuals, and a mood-setting soundtrack, this game brings a unique aura to shmups that rivals the ingenuity of games like Astabreed and Zone of the Enders. Let's do a flyby of the integral mechanics that make this title worth your time. As soon as the title screen starts up, I couldn't help but think how someone must have clubbed Freddie Mercury over the head and brought him in for vocal tracks under duress. I thought to myself, could this be some lost studio track by Queen? When I researched, I found that a Dutch artist named Aldus Byron Valencia Clarkson was actually responsible for the rock-like, operatic game themes here. If you ask me what his music is like, I would say it's arranged like a cross between the obvious Queen and maybe some of the more melody-driven songs by Daniel Johns from Silverchair. In any case, they are both strangely alluring. But onto the game. What also has a strange allure is the linear arcade-like pick-up-play platform where visuals are thrown at you like confetti at a wedding, and along with the transcendent musical arrangement, Air Twister finds a hook that will keep most players chasing a better score multiplier by keeping the game loop ethereal and calming in an Oz-like environment. As you move, you track your targets to fire on all at once, or you can initiate a charged shot. You also get an ability to slow time, which comes in handy on boss fights. If you've never played this game, it's a definite recommend, and it really flies under the radar in most people's collections. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. On or about August 10th of 2023, an action role-playing game with some Metroidvania nods may have escaped the general public, but I for one take notice of titles like this and sunk considerable hours into it. Developer Deck 13 and publisher Focus Entertainment brought to us a sandy take on a semi-open world Assassin's Creed-like adventure all its own with a showy display of attack mechanics. I'd say a few of the best aspects are searching out relics and leveling up along with coming across new and interesting Wraith adversaries. If I was timing myself as to the hours I put into this one, I would have turned my hourglass of sand over roughly 30 times, so that really speaks to the dedication and desire I had to keep going. Let's funnel out a review, shall we? On the surface, this game moonlights as a AAA title, but after you shake off the shimmering sand, you can see its indieware underneath, and it sports quite the impressive bulge. I found the combat particularly entertaining, especially when you're air juggling a foe, seemingly defying gravity as you do, and the exploration is admittedly intriguing and kept me wanting to persist. Yes, those are the two major funsy areas that the game excels in, along with perhaps some power-ups and special moves. If I needed to find any low points, it may just be some of the voice acting not being incredible, but also not distracting and honestly few and far between. It's a shame more people haven't heard of this game, and maybe it's due to when it was released around a time of bigger releases. However, I do feel it's one you need to come back to because it stands proud and bold, like an underwear model in a JCPenney's ad. I'll give this one a 7.5 out of 10. I'm not sure where the hell I was on February 20th of 2024, but if I could hop into my telephone booth and travel the circuits of time to pick this game up, like some godforsaken teenager who needed to ace a video game history report, I'm sure the trip would be justified for the review purposes and unadulterated fun it brings. Maybe if I went back a little farther, I could make a review even sooner like some of these lucky reviewers that got the game far ahead of schedule from Local Thunk, the developer. But instead, here I sit in my independent reviewer chair almost a year later, swooning over this poker-themed roguelike that gives new meaning to the phrase, all hands on deck. With PlayStack at the helm of publishing, this one comes out all cards blazing for what is an addictive time melter, and don't mind the 18 rating. I'm not sure why the UK thinks gambling and scorekeeping is of the devil, but here in North America, it has an E10 plus rating, so put away that holy water if you happen to own this version. Before I knew what was happening, I wasted the equivalent of an entire day playing it, but if you talk to a gamer such as myself, I wouldn't exactly call it wasteful. I'd call it genius, and I'm about to tell you why. Sometimes simple is better, but as far from simple as this game is for strategy, it is actually approachable. If you have the basics of poker down, this just adds another few layers by incorporating multipliers like buffable jokers, planet cards, gold cards, glass cards, tarot cards. You get the idea. Simple. Going in, I was a bit skeptical because I heard how amazing it is, so I really had to see for myself, and like the 1985 movie The Stuff, the addiction is real, folks. It is based on a Cantonese card game called Big 2 and inspired by a computer/Apple Android game called Luck Be a Landlord, which oddly enough was inspired by Slay the Spire, which I reviewed on PS4. Building up a perfect deck, gaining multipliers, and points binging ultimately kept me starting new runs like I was drinking a bottle of Miralax. The truth is you have to experience it firsthand, or should I say 246th hand, before you essentially fall victim to its hypnotizing allure. I'll give this an 8 out of 10. Disclaimer: no balls were harmed in the making of this game, even though the title would suggest that. Instead, we have an indie title from developer Exit Plan Games and publishers Untold Tales and Couchplay Interactive that released on March 3rd of 2021. Just when you thought there's not enough balls in video games, these blokes come out and make a ballsy open-world sandbox adventure full of battle platforming and puzzling. Really, don't let the name dissuade you. You can even grab a friend and play with 2 balls. Seems like what should follow next is don't try this at home, but with this one, it's the only place you can try it, so let's bang away a review. As unpleasant as banging on balls sounds, it does prove to be very pleasant after all. First off, visually, this game is impressive. The level design is top-notch, and I can't stress enough how immersive and visually diverse the 4 3D movie sets you will explore translate to finding objectives or fighting bosses. What makes it better is there's a ball-busting 400 collectibles just waiting to be had, mostly for cosmetic purposes, and some special abilities that litter the landscape, so don't forget to check behind, inside, or on top of everything. If demolition is your thing, the explosions and the complete destruction of cartoon property will have you leaking seminal fluid in generous amounts where you sit, so bring a towel and lock your door. I'll leave you with that image and a score of 7.5 out of 10. I'm so elated you joined me today for my first PS5 Rare, Unique, and Hidden Gems video. As my videos take form and I choose the worthy titles for scrutiny, I won't forget the promises I've made for giveaways, and I still would love to hear from you regarding any titles I could consider for this series. Your suggestions have given me the blueprints needed to construct a sturdy channel of viewing entertainment, so thank you all incredibly for that. That said, May we embark on this next system of gems with a ferocity not met since the likes of Kratos. Cheers!